The other pieces of the puzzle that are coming are as innocuous as having everything within a 15-minute walk, and they include the digital ID, the central bank digital currency, blockchain technology, net zero and carbon credits, and the 5G network. But it's how these all link together that's the important part, and the AI that controls them. The digital ID that the government plan to bring in at the end of this year could end up being used to identify yourself for absolutely everything, from even logging onto the internet to purchasing food to accessing your bank account. There'll be no more anonymity in anything you do. And there are pluses and minuses to that, of course, depending on your viewpoint. You could think of it almost like a digital fingerprint as much as it is a digital ID. And it can mean that every move you make is tracked in real time. And you may think, so what? I'm not a criminal, it doesn't matter. Well, not by today's standards, you're not. But look at the direction the world is going in. Are we heading towards more freedom and more democracy, or less? Look at how much the world has already changed in the last 3 or 4 years, and the abuses of power that have occurred, from a lady being arrested for silently praying in a street, to 6 people and a dog in Colchester being arrested for inciting racial hatred because of the Russian flag being included with over 80 other flags, to show solidarity to all of the people in countries where their leaders have taken them to war. So things that are considered perfectly acceptable in today's world, who knows what the rules will be 5 or 10 years from now. But one thing that is for sure, having your every move tracked and traced and stored on the blockchain forever will bring in a level of control that is unimaginable and could very easily be abused by those in power. Thanks to the 5G network and all the surveillance that is going everywhere, that's on our streets and is even in our shops, that will enable them to track everything all of the time, which takes on a lot more significance when it's tied into a central bank digital currency, which people might think is a lot like Bitcoin. But it's not, because the central bank that's created it has complete control, and it can change how it functions on a whim. They might decide that your money has an expiry date on it, or they may decide what you can and can't spend it on. And if a 15-minute city infrastructure has been built and the government decide they don't want you venturing out in order to meet their net zero targets, they can program it so that your digital currency does not work outside of your designated zone. Now, whilst you'd hope none of these actually ever happen, the technology has this capability, so wouldn't it be prudent to put some safeguards in place just to make sure? And with the restrictive nature of many of the net zero proposals, there is a lot to be concerned about. But as net zero is a very big topic that really needs its own video, and we do have many concerns over it, some of which we've already voiced in person at the council meetings, namely the things that are put forward as good for the environment are anything but we'll cover our other concerns in the next video. But moving on, the most important part of this isn't the technology per se, but who is controlling it and who has programmed it. It's not you and I, is it? When the computer says no, it means it. And this isn't just in our country, it's a global initiative. And it's not our government that have orchestrated all of this. It is outside organisations that nobody have voted for, like the World Economic Forum, the UN, that are heavily influencing every single government around the world. And one day they hope to meet their goals, a one world government. So you won't even be able to complain to our government. Now, how far they get with this grand scheme of theirs is entirely down to us. It's down to how much of this we will accept. So shouldn't we just do our due diligence as a society and have that conversation and decide how we want the world to be? Because if we don't have any input in this, it's going to be left to the people that are currently running the system, the ones that have one rule for them and one rule for us. Do you think that's a good idea? Don't you think it would be better that we have a say in the technology that's going to shape and control every aspect of our lives? And even if by some bizarre chance you still trust our current government, what about the next one or the one after that? Do you think that at some point along the line that nobody is going to abuse this complete and utter control they have over society? Are you willing to trust them that much? Millions of us all over the world who have put the time into researching this do not trust our governments. So, how about we let go of all the name calling of conspiracy theorists and just come together and do our due diligence and make sure that our rights and freedoms that we've enjoyed isn't thrown away for future generations? And this video has only just scratched the surface of the utter delights that are coming our way if we allow it. Now, here's a novel idea for you all to consider. How about we all start thinking about how we would like the world to be and start designing the systems to create it? For example, we could set up the technology so that the government could not award contracts to their corporate friends and family. The system could automatically prevent kickbacks and payouts for parliamentary favours. MPs could be prevented from being awarded high-paying positions on companies they've helped when they leave office. The system could be set up so that there are no financial benefits whatsoever for being a politician, so only people who genuinely wanted to do good came into office. The system could prevent people who have outside affiliations to organisations like the World Economic Forum from ever becoming an MP. It would weed out the sexual deviants, the psychopaths, the dishonest and the corrupt from all levels of government, police and the judicial system. Admittedly, there may be quite a few vacancies for a while, but we could fill them ourselves with someone we trust locally, or perhaps take it in turns, a bit like national service but without the guns. We could have a system that is set up to provide excellent infrastructure and services rather than wasting millions on schemes that only benefit the private partnerships. We could fix the potholes. Those are just a few off the top of my head. This technology is coming whether you like it or not. So do you want to decide how it's going to be used, or shall we leave it up to the powers that be, with no safeguards to protect ourselves whatsoever? So we hope this video has helped bridge the divide and you can see why millions of us are concerned. And we invite you all to think about what's been presented and research things for yourselves. And maybe you will start to share some of our concerns and we can come together to do something about them. So thank you for watching. In the next video, we will cover net zero and the climate crisis. So until next time, take care.